So hi there. I said I would do a video on prepping. And this is just my thoughts, my own commentary and everything else. Now, beforehand I'm going to preference this with all the other individuals that are on YouTube currently that are doing prepping. And displaying their preps on YouTube. I wouldn't do that personally myself, but to each their own. It's whatever at this particular point. You've already put it out there, So with that, I'll get on to what I was going to talk about in this particular video. First of all, you can buy a billion tons of food, you can buy a billion tons of water, but mostly the most important tool that you could ever acquire is knowledge. Um, it's very important for individuals to acquire knowledge to handle the situations that arise with any particular type of situation that may come up. Crap hit the fan, all that kind of fun jazz. So I'm going to cover some of those. First, I'm going to cover what you need to know about going out in the woods and surviving in the woods. If you haven't taken a course, a survival course, and you haven't had a notable instructor teach you how to harvest and pick different types of mushrooms, do that now. Go find one now. Find a course now. Do that immediately. Do not rely on your food because that is a false sense of security. I'm going to explain why here in a few minutes. So, go take the course, find out how to survive in the wild, find out what you can eat, what you can't eat. Personally, I've done this. I've gone out, I've survived in the wild for a month, and it taught me a lot of things about myself. And it may seem like I'm an oddball to a lot of other individuals out there, but I'm very self reliant. Or I try to be at least, to some extent. I don't want to rely on society, personally myself. Sorry for my dog snoring. See, he's over there. That's Mr. Jack. So yeah, go take the course, and go practice. What you should do is you should go and you should get a comfortable pack to wear, go out in the woods, bring a little bit of food with you, and don't rely on it. Try to pick as much food and vegetables and hunt as much as possible. If you are going to go out in the wild and you're not going to fish and you are not going to hunt, you're going to have a bad time. And I really wouldn't suggest going out there with the uh, preference of carrying a gun with you. And I'm going to tell you why here in the future, but that's just me, personally, myself. And if you do have a gun, I'm going to tell you right now it better be silenced. And I'll explain that more in detail here in a minute. So, first kind of scenario that you had to plan for is just natural disaster. That is the first scenario. That is general 101. Any type of particular event. That's the most common thing that you'll run into. Flood, all of that kind of shabam. Winter storms, blizzards, things of that nature. The second thing that you will run into will probably be an EMP style event. Or maybe Actually, let me change that. I'll say the second thing that you'll probably run into is economic collapse. Which, in that particular situation, you will have the aid of the police, you will have the aid of the government, but at the same time, the government may try to come in and take all that nice, pretty food, and you have to sleep. That's why I'm telling you get it up here. Get the knowledge up here. It's most important. Because when the government takes your food and you can't get any food, and you have to sleep, people will come in on you when you sleep. If you're coming in this alone, it doesn't matter if you have 70 AKs. People will eventually get in. They will throw a gas grenade through your window. They will storm in there. They will throw a flashbang in through your window or concussion grenade. They will knock you out, and then they will take what they want. And they may kill you in the process. So plan for that. Plan to go light. Plan to be able to leave and bug out at a moment's notice. So, with that much said, the next disaster that I will cover in this video will be, say, an EMP. That's when everything goes out. So this is where your planning, your know-how, your practice, everything comes into play, because you won't have electricity, you will not have modern running lights, you will not have LED lights, you will not have computer systems. They will all be fried. Unless you put them inside of a Faraday box, which if you go to Tin Hat Preppers, he will teach you how to make. You won't have any of these things. You will not have the ability to look anything up unless you have a book. So if you have books, if you want to get books, go get books. Go do it now. This second, now. Go do it. Don't wait. You know, you can get tons of food, you can get tons of guns, but those are things that can be taken away from you. Your tools are what you know personally, yourself. And you need to test yourself, and you need to test your tools. You need to go out and you need to be self-reliant on yourself. And you need to understand another thing, which I will get to after I clear this up. Now, when all of these specific scenarios happen, anything past natural disaster, you want to avoid people that will slow you down. I know that you may have a kind soul, but these people will slow you down. If they are mentally unstable and they cannot be trusted, if they have turned over and stabbed you in the back in the past, don't trust them. Don't put them on your team. Don't do anything. Don't tell them any of your plans, because these people will betray you. They will come, they will take your food, and they will kill you. This is a survival situation, and you should be looking out for your own survival. Always keep optimistic in these survival situations, but take stock of everything that you have. Take stock of everything that, any disadvantage that you may have, and be aware of it. Because, say for instance, getting soaked in winter, the first thing you need to do is to get dry. It's common sense. So think about that. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail about the other things that I've said in here. First of all, guns make noise. You do not want to be found, and if the latter situations arise. If you're just out in the woods and you're just trying to survive, bar disaster, it's perfectly fine. If you want to be found, make as much noise as possible. But if you don't want to make enough, you don't want to make any noise, use a silencer. You can acquire one online, or there are ways to build one. They're actually in some places illegal, but you'll need one. Seriously. Or acquire a bow. Compound, or it can be a crossbow. Or be skilled in some other particular facet. Get a BB gun. You can hunt small game with a BB gun. You can take out squirrels, rabbits, things of that nature. Become practiced with any particular weapon that you choose to use in this particular scenario. Know that you will not be under optimal conditions on a firing range when you fire it. So practice, 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 practice. That's one of the most important part of prepping. You can acquire as much food as possible and people can come and steal it. Remember that. You can acquire as many guns as you possibly can. People can steal it. So do not become too reliant on having tools in these particular situations. You may have to flee and leave your 70 AKs that you bought and you are very prideful of in that situation. So, on to the next subject here. You do not want to be found. If you are in a survival situation, it's prominent to be found, but in the particular situation of an economic collapse, you will have, if you live in the state of Virginia, 8 million starving people. And if it's an EMP event, a lot of people will die, first of all. And then you will have probably 7 million residents of Virginia take guns and try to go into the woods to find livestock. So you're around 7 million people that may not know how to use a weapon. 7 million scared, crazy people that have never been in the woods before in their lives because they sip Starbucks mocha lattes and they're running around in the woods trying to find something. They get lost, they die of exposure, or they try to shoot you because they think that you're a deer because they're stupid. So you don't want to be found. This is part of guerrilla warfare 101, you know. So what I would suggest is hanging close to imposing structures such as cliffs, and not lighting fires. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but yeah, try not to light a fire because they can smell smoke and they can see smoke during the day. If you do light a fire, wait till nighttime, and also try to use what's called a Dakota fire pit. Look it up. Trust me. You want to use natural vegetation. Do not build a cabin. Again, I repeat, do not build a cabin in the woods. Do not build a cabin in the woods. Try to make your dwelling look like a mound of dirt. Try to make it look like it's nothing. Try to blend into your surroundings. Try not to draw attention. Do not use the same path to go back to your location all the time. Try to differ your path to your location. Try to walk around the premises of your location wherever you put your dwelling. Sorry for Jack snoring again. To see if anybody is there and make sure that it is secure. Try to make it in the most inhospitable, hard to reach place where people are likely not to go. Think about it for a second. What a lot of people will do is they have this utopian dream of running into the woods and building a cabin and surviving there. You have thousands and thousands of crazed, starved individuals trying to build log structures in the woods, chopping down trees, drawing attention to themselves, and putting themselves in harm's way of other individuals coming around, shooting them, and taking their supplies. Let me repeat this again for you here so you can understand. During Black Friday, people trample other people for a $20 toaster. What are they going to do in a life or death situation? Think about it in that particular context. Also, do not attempt to contact any government entities during this particular time. This is paramount. What you want to do is you want to take your cell phone if there's a government lockdown, economic collapse. You want to take the cell phone, you want to put it on the back of a truck going the opposite direction from you. Seriously. Get rid of it. Don't use your credit cards. Don't leave a trail. Do not use your crazy smart car that is a Cadillac with OnStar because that's trackable. If you are going to put food caches in the woods, don't take your smartphone. Don't use your credit cards to buy your supplies. And I'm going to tell you a really neat, nifty way to get around, to kind of do this. So what you do is you take your cell phone, you put it inside of your car. You take your cell phone, you go to the club. You go in, you sit down. That club, it can be a club, but I would suggest a strip club. That's the most prominent place. Go to the ATM, withdraw the money from the ATM. Use the money from said ATM and put it in your pocket. Sit there, eat the all-you-can-eat buffet that they have there. It's probably crappy, but whatever. And spend some time there. When you get done, take $5, put it up on the stage, and be a classy gentleman or classy woman or classy whatever, and leave. Be a classy lady. Thank them, pay them the $5, and leave. That's all you do. Spend about 40, 50 minutes there, eat, and leave. You got the money out of the ATM. You have it in your pocket. Don't spend it until you get to the other locations and spend it on what you need. That way people can't track. Don't use a frequent shopper card. Don't do any of those particular measures. when you buy this stuff. And shop around, shop several places. Don't make it easy on people to track your movements. Don't make it easy on people to, track what you're doing. Even if you want to get more even complicated, you can go and you can take your cell phone out to the club. You can take your cell phone back to the house, and then you can go and shop for your stuff using the cash that you pulled out of the ATM. It's a win-win scenario. People won't look twice your way when you're doing this. So don't use your frequent shopper card. Don't use anything that can tie you. Don't use your cell phone in these particular situations when, say, for instance, the government goes on lockdown. Take your cell phone, put it on somebody else's car. It's gone. Just forget it. Forget it ever existed. Don't break it. Don't throw it in a puddle of water. You don't want to let them know that it's turned off. You don't want to break it. You don't want to say anything like that. Just be casual. Just drop it in somebody else's car and let them go on with it. Easy as pie. Because they're going to be tracking this thing. As soon as the cell phone goes dead, they'll be there. If they're watching you, that is. Or if they've attempted to watch you. So just be aware of that. I hope this video has been helpful for individuals. Also, I'm going to tell you something. If you don't train, if you don't harness what's up here before you go and you prep and do all this kind of stuff and you buy 8 billion tons of food and you think that you're going to be an island off to yourself in a survival situation, when all the shit hits the fan, I don't know. I can't help you. The people on YouTube, they display their preps. I personally wouldn't do that because I don't want anybody to know what I've done. Seriously, I like anonymity. I don't like to disclose this kind of information. You don't go around and be like, look at my water purifier I bought from Alex Jones. This is gonna bring down the globalists. No, I don't do that kind of stuff. I try to keep as low key and low profile with everything as always. So, again, I apologize for Mr. Jack there snoring. Look at Mr. Jack there. He's looking at you. And hopefully I'll catch you, ladies and gentlemen, later. Stay classy. It is the new year. Consume beverages with responsibility, and I'll see you next year.